Paris and Milan Fashion Week are right behind the corner. So today I want to be talking about Fashion Week gigs, where to find them, and also I would say like fashion jobs in general, where to look for them. We're doing this with no pants today. Like, I am so lazy. I've been working the whole morning from bed in front of my computer, and now I was so lazy to put some pants on. But I guess that's like an advantage of having your own podcast. You can just like record an episode with no pants on. And also, even like if you're on a video, on the video version of this, you won't see anything. Hopefully, you will just see my face and like this fake apartment I'm living in Paris, because it looks like one of these demo apartments. Like, it's super basic, but it does the job, especially for like a temporary stay in Paris. And it's actually quite big. It's like almost 60-meter squares. But I really want to go straight into the topic because today is going to be a little bit of a long one. With So grab your drink of choice. I'm having some water and lemon right here with me. See you in 3 months in the tiniest bikini, I guess. Maybe I'm entering my healthy girl era. Though I won't like talk too much about these because they're huge and you can find them on Google. Like, you can ask ChatGPT, but obviously the biggest platforms are LinkedIn. Like, that's obvious. Business of fashion with like for fashion careers, also like on a long term, for long term positions, I think it's great. I've been using that at the beginning when I moved to Berlin, but to be honest, they always, I don't know, I didn't feel like they had internships as much, and also in Berlin as much. So definitely, if you're like in one of the big fours, you will be able to find something easier, something interesting easier than how it was for me in Berlin. I remember using a lot Fashion United, and this is how I found my first internship. I don't know if it's a German thing, if it's something you can use also from different countries, but it really worked for Berlin. I'm also going to say something obvious, like if you want to work for a specific brand, you should always be checking their website. Like, you literally have to have all of the websites open and like check from time to time all of them. I feel like that would be like the best strategy. Also, like, there are platforms or e-platforms like Zalando. They have in Berlin, it's obviously like the biggest thing because 1 out of 3 people in Berlin, they work at Zalando. So you will be able to find definitely some interesting offers there, even though Zalando is a commercial platform. The brands are commercial, but actually they have interesting projects, and they do have also the capacity, of hiring and actually paying a fair salary and all of these things, which are essential, guys. Obviously, they're essential. Like, we're not gonna go into the politics of it, but obviously choose wisely. And I'm not saying don't do an unpaid internship, because I've done that myself, but like, you have to put on your like balance. You have to like, if it's unpaid, it has to balance out some other things. Like, it has to really bring you in something that you would not be able to get otherwise in any other place, even if you would have a paid internship. So this is key. Okay, like a small local magazine that offers an unpaid internship is not going to give you anything. But I remember when I did my first internship, I was working with a girl that did like her previous internship, an unpaid internship at Chanel during Fashion Week. She was in design, so she kind of like was the jolly in the design team. She was doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Even like she was telling me, even sewing like a lot of little purse by hand overnight. Like, tasks like this, and it was unpaid, but obviously this is something that portfolio wise, it makes such a fucking difference compared to like I don't know, like compared to like just an internship like at your local fashion magazine in like a town that's not like one of the big fours. So she was like actually recommending me to go to Paris and do like an unpaid internship. I've never done that, and sometimes I regret it, not to the unpaid part, but like going to one of the cities, like specifically Paris. We've all seen the whole like media coverage analysis that BOF, Business of Fashion, has done, BOF has done, where Paris Fashion Week is the fashion week that has had the biggest media coverage um, in spring summer 2025 compared to, like, London, Milan and stuff. So Milan was in a good position. Now I'm gonna put this on the screen because I don't remember it specifically, but I think Milan was in kind of like a good position. London was absolutely the worst. New York was the second worst, and then Paris was one of the, like, it was the best one. So Paris has, like, it's not only for spring summer 2025, it has always had a huge interest. And even myself in my career, I decided to focus more on Paris Fashion Week and invest in doing maybe one fashion week per season. I just realized after a couple of seasons, 4 years, so like 8 seasons doing this, that it doesn't really matter if you're a little bit everywhere. You should just at least be where, like, in a place, and properly be there, and like actually going to events, actually network, actually like go to brand dinners, actually like meeting with potential clients and with people, even with colleagues and like slash competitors, having to like really go out there and like talk and engage. It's something that you can't really be doing for fashion weeks like every season. Like, it's just so much, or at least for me it was so stressful, and I wouldn't be the best of myself, and I wouldn't put the best version of myself out there. And I remember also like being canceling a lot of like events because I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I just couldn't deal with being out there and just engage and like talk to people, like simply talk to people, if that makes sense. Like, I decided that after going to different places, like Copenhagen Fashion Week was my main because it was the first one that I was able to monetize through my content and through my work. And it was pretty small. I started in 2019, so it was quite small yet. And it was also very accessible, specifically because I kind of represented the German market in like the industry. And at that point, Denmark was really interested in the German market and to invest in German market and in German, like, and marketing in Germany. So that was like business wise a good choice at the moment. But it was accessible at the beginning, but it was really, really hard to actually like keep that access. And I think not only keeping the access but really like building relationships, it was somehow hard. Although everyone is extremely nice in Copenhagen, way more than any other city, any other fashion city, it was still quite hard to actually build meaningful relationships with designers, brands, PRs. It was really, really hard, to be honest. So after years and years, I decided it was really not for me anymore. And also, it was becoming way more commercial. And this whole like Scandinavian girl style, Scandinavian style, was becoming so much more of a thing. And I think also like aesthetically, I don't really belong there. I didn't belong there anymore with all of this candy thing going on. Although I love Scandi brands, and by the way, they're very good also with materials. Like, the quality of Scandi brands is next level, period. And there are still some brands that are not Scandi, like Han Copenhagen. You guys know I love this brand, and like there are some Masculina as well is one that should literally go to Berlin and not be in Copenhagen, by the way. That's like where they would find their own crowd. But there are a couple of them. um yeah, but at the same time I just feel like I just feel like I felt like I did not belong there anymore. For example, I've been recommended so much by people in the industry to actually go to Milan Fashion Week and attend Milan Fashion Week and kind of like build relations with the PRs there. And I love Milan, and I just came back from Milan. I was there with Antonioli and it was really nice, but at the same time, like, it's just I, mm, I don't know. I tried a couple of times. I did not feel it was the vibe, because for me, it's not only interesting what's happening mainstream, but what is happening underground. That's where I want to be, and that's the type of fashion that I want to like experience and experiment with. So obviously, whatever Prada is doing, whatever MM6 is doing, and other luxury huge brands. I always comment on these shows, I always talk about these shows and these brands, but that doesn't mean that I will have access to the shows. And because of this reason, I would then just go where the whole underground crowd is stronger and first I can have access to. And that's very important to me because I get to like test the clothes, like talk to the designer, I get more like insightful information. Like obviously I need access to be able to do this type of content, and whenever I don't have it, I won't just like go to fashion week to like attend a party. Like this is just not my vibe. So because Milan wasn't really interesting underground wise, I realized by starting to come to Paris that there's like such a huge underground scene. And if you're looking for like a fashion week gig, you should definitely go into that as well, because there's where like the crowd, like, you know, it's very creative and it's very how can I say, like they're just like, it's interesting, it's everyone wants to talk, like you have, like you exchange insightful information. That's like fucking key. It sounds like obvious, I don't know, it sounds like whatever event you go to you should be doing that, but it's not unfortunately what happens in fashion all the time. So the fact that I'm able to go to a show like Vatrio or like Preciad, you know, or Vaquera. I mean, Vaquera is not even underground anymore. Like that's the thing, you know, you get to see brands like Vaquera, which were underground. Like I've been last year or like 4 seasons ago at the first show of Vaquera, and the crowd was small and it was interesting. And now it's nice to see this brand grow and be like, fuck, like it happened, and people finally got what they were trying to express, and this style is finally selling, and the shows become bigger and more interesting and cooler. So it's very nice to be part of these, like, the growth and this process with brands. It's very emotional even, to be honest. So like it's nice to go to see and then like kind of figure out if the brand is going or not, if the brand is growing, not going, growing. I'm talking so fast that I'm kind of like eating words here and there. I hope you guys know what I mean, because the transcript on Spotify, it's shit. The Spotify gods, if you're hearing to this podcast, please repair this transcript thing because it's so annoying. Like every time I say Marzella, it's like it translates it into Mandala, Marzella. Like it's always like it's kind of funny though to read through it. Coming to Paris as a small creator made so much more sense. Although the city is more expensive and although the fashion week is longer, so you kind of have to be here for a longer period of time. It's not only a week, it's almost like 2 weeks, it's 10, 11 days. So it's more things are happening and there's more access. There's something to begin with for everyone. And that's why I also think Paris is the fashion week that has more media coverage and has been the most successful in spring summer 2025, because so many things are happening. And like, even, you know, like I was talking last, was it like a couple of episodes ago, of people just like hanging out around the show and then like at the location but not really going in and stuff like this. This is also strategic because so many shows, especially smaller ones, if there's still capacity in the room, they would let people who are hanging out around there to like just come in. I've seen PRs, or like I've seen people begging, which I think that's a little bit stressful for the PRs. I wouldn't recommend, because the more you stress them out, the less they will be friends, like friendly with you or like nice to you. But I've seen people like asking, can I go in? And the PR be like, no, you're not on the list. But look, just hang around. If we see that they have to start the show and there's not, like there's still a lot of capacity, you can actually just go in standing and maybe not sitting but standing, and that's, it's actually nice. And it's actually like, it's nice to be able to give an opportunity to who's not invited also to like just see the show. And I think it's a win-win for who isn't invited, but also for the PRs who actually have to fill that room, like that's their job, you know. But they can't really predict if, I don't know, like someone is sick that day or someone didn't make it because of traffic, or something happens. So obviously you are invited to attend, but you're not like forced to attend. Even if you RSVP'd, something can happen. uh, Worst thing that happened to me is to be stuck in traffic and not be able to go in. But yeah, like, it's a pity. Maybe you lose the relationship with the PR agency. Maybe you lose the relationship with the brand. It's a fucking shit show during Fashion Week. Like, you can't really be saying if you're there, you're gonna be there. So it happens. Maybe someone is too late and they still have to fill that room. So they're just gonna let people in. I've seen this. Sometimes it goes smoothly, sometimes it doesn't. So people get very pushy, and there's a lot of bodyguards, there's a lot of like fighting and stuff. So that's also, if you're gonna be doing this, please don't always be kind to everyone around you. But oh my god, I'm talking like about so many other things, but like, not, I don't know, I have this talent, like I pick a topic and I would be able to just talk around the topic without even touch the topic for like hours and hours and hours. I don't know why I do this. I just want to say, like, what I wanted to say is, like, if you want to do a fashion week gig, I would recommend to do a fashion week gig in Paris. And to say that, it took me like 20 minutes, 15 minutes of why fashion week is in Paris is better than any other like place. Bear with me. So as I said, besides like fashion jobs that you can definitely find in all of the ways mentioned so far, LinkedIn, Fashion United, Fashionista is also a good one. Fashion Worky is a good one. What else? Yeah, always check the websites of platforms like Zalando, High Snobiety, and stuff like that. And always check the websites of the brands that you actually want to work with. That's like key, because obviously brands will first post there and then on different platforms, or at the same time on LinkedIn and stuff. But I think, like, most of the brands, the main brands, they definitely have a huge hiring system process on their process and like offer on their website already. Going deeper into specifically Fashion Week gigs, which by definition are temporary jobs before, during, or after, or and after Fashion Week in Paris. You can also find long term jobs in fashion on these platforms, but I think specifically if you're looking for these temporary gigs, these are very good options. I would say the Mode Paris is a very good one. It's an agency based in Paris, but obviously, like, you can apply from everywhere in the world. And they do a specific curation for Fashion Week in Paris, or like they often have internships. I think that's a very good a platform for who's starting in fashion at the moment. I wouldn't go there for like an executive role of any sort, but I think for beginners, it's super, super cool. Another one that's kind of like a fashion news website, or like fashion career website, where you can also find, like, meaningful information about the type of roles that you could have in fashion, the type of jobs that are interesting at the moment, how much you get paid for different roles, for different jobs, which company is actually like going well right now. It's like performing well, so maybe there might be hiring more than others because they are growing. And this platform is, I found them on Threads actually. I don't know if you guys are on Threads, but it's my new thing. I'm not new, because I've been having Threads since it opened the doors to Europe. But yeah, I'm just like very, very often there. I'm liking it more and more. And I think the algorithm is probably feeding me things that are not only interesting directly for me, but also like from the side. If that makes sense. Maybe this is an Italian way of saying things, but like, for example, fashion careers, like, it's a topic that I'm interested in, but I wouldn't necessarily like directly be interested in. It's something that I'm passionate about, and I love to read about like these companies, and I love to read about jobs, who's offering which type of jobs, but I wouldn't necessarily apply. So I'm not like a direct consumer, but somehow still interested into it. Anyways, so Calibre Careers has different, it's like it's good for different things. Specifically, they curate a fashion week gigs list and they update it in real time, and this is fucking key, guys. Like, the fact that, because also for who's looking for people to work with, like during fashion week things are so stretched out, and also jobs come in so late. Even for me, like I could get booked during fashion week for a job for fashion week, and maybe I need like a producer, or maybe I need a cameraman, or maybe I need an editor. Like, I don't know what I need, but like from one day to the other I would need people. So I guess if like in my small world this is happening, it can happen also to bigger like players, as well as different roles like photographers, stylists and stuff. I know, like I have stylist friends who like get booked also from one day to the other and in the middle of fashion week. And you don't want to say no to a job because you already have a schedule, so you obviously need help, so you're going to be hiring help and kind of like outsource, if that makes sense. The fact that Calibre Careers has a specific list that's curated for Paris Fashion Week. It's something that I haven't seen so far, and it's fucking genius. It's really, really, really genius. And if you follow them on threads, you will see like real life updates. As soon as there's like a job coming in, they will like post about it. Just recently, like every time Fashion Week comes, this is such a topic in my DMs, and I think I've sent only this week like to more than 15 people the account of Calibre, because I'm asked for jobs. And when I have a job offer for someone, like someone is looking for an assistant and stuff like that, I said this also in my reel that I just posted. Like I always post it on my broadcast, but whenever this is just, I don't have anything right now, I would always link you guys to Calibre Careers, and then also to Creative Network, which is the second one I want to talk about. This is a page on Instagram curated by Luisa, which is just a girl, but like a genius girl, that opened this account for creative gigs, specifically creative gigs, and specifically on a freelance basis, but kind of like you also never know. So like better to always watch out. By the way, it happened to me, and it's common that you can be booked for a freelance gig and then you are offered a long term position. This is also something like possible, so I think it's always nice if you want to like experiment a little bit more, kind of learn different skills, to be doing something small and creative on a freelance basis. And if you like it and the company likes you, you can always have a chance to actually work on a long term doing that specific thing that you were booked for. And I think this is great. Like, it's a very good way to start. And I used Creative Network. Like, I texted them last year when I was looking for an assistant, and they really helped me to find someone, because they're followed by creatives and by people who hire creatives. So like their network and their audience on Instagram is extremely targeted. And yeah, so I think you should definitely follow that page as well. If there are any other Instagram accounts that are doing this, please let me know in the comments. I will also check more and try to figure out if I can add more. I will definitely like edit the description in the box if this will happen. But so far, I haven't found anything, to be honest. Another thing that I mentioned also in my reel is broadcasts. I mean, I don't know about other broadcasts, but in my broadcast is I always post this, because I have friends who come to me saying, I really like, I'm looking for an assistant, and I have people coming to me saying, I'm looking for a job, or like I'm interested in doing some experience in fashion, how can I do that and stuff. So I always try to link you guys. Plus, I'm also often looking for, like, now I'm looking for a photographer in Paris. I'm looking for maybe like an executive producer in a couple of months. So like it's always yeah, it's like it's always a good place where to be, because everything that's gonna come in, I will just put it there. Or if I see brands that I like that they're looking to hire someone, I will always share on my broadcast. And I remember specifically during fashion week, I remember a model looking for gigs, and I posted a casting, and she went to the casting and she did the fashion show. She walked that fashion show. So I think this is, I don't know, it just makes me very wholesome and happy. So I hope I can also help more in that direction. So to do a little bit of a Zusammenfassung, we talked about the classic mainstream platforms like Business of Fashion, Fashion United, Fashionista, Zalando, and what else? Whatever I mentioned before, I don't remember. Then the ones that are more interesting for specifically for fashion gigs list for fashion gigs, fashion week gigs. Oh my god, I'm like dying. I'm talking so fast. For fashion week gigs, Caliber Careers, Creative Network on Instagram, the Beshmont Paris, also my broadcast channel or other broadcast channels. But I want to talk a little bit more generally about for like who's applying for jobs, because I often had like when I was looking for an assistant and I put it on my broadcast, I got sent so many like CVs and so like resumes of like people who are amazing in graphic design, but that's not what specifically I'm looking for. When I say I'm looking for an assistant, I'm looking literally for an extension of myself where that can help me feel like helps me to fill in the tasks that I'm not able to do by myself anymore because it's just too much. And that can be, for example, like editing my podcast. So I need an editor, I need a cutter. Like this is something that like you have like if you're applying for assistant job for like a content creator, you need to be able to do that. And I know it's very difficult because I kind of built what I'm doing for myself by myself, so I had to learn these skills. Like I wanted to have a podcast, I needed to learn how to edit audio and a voice, and like how to like cut some things and stuff like that. And it wasn't easy at the beginning, and it took me time. Like it takes time, like, and I'm not perfect, but I know what I can do with what I've learned. If I'm looking for um, an assistant, I also mean someone who can help me with marketing, with PR relations. This is, for example, a task that I lack in because I just hate it. I hate self promotion. I hate to like be selling myself and to like, yeah, I'm just trying to do this without doing it, which is stupid and is definitely not like not successful. But I need someone who is able to like be in my emails and answer the emails and like following up with clients and like, stuff like this. I don't know, whatever. Like, just like an assistant has to be kind of like able to fill in with all of these tasks for myself. But maybe like with another content creator that does not have a podcast, it does different things, this assistant will have to do stuff that's different. But so like if you're looking to assist someone, try to find someone that has or does stuff that you want to do, as well as stuff that you can do a little bit, because otherwise it's not going to be successful. And if it's not successful, like it's a shit show. Like it's just a shit show, and it's such a pity because I'm a very sensitive, I don't know, like I'm very emotional. So when I meet someone, I want to create instantly like a personal connection with this person. And it happened with, for example, the assistant that I had in Copenhagen Fashion Week the last time I went there. Like she was just so great also on a personal level. Like she immediately understood, like she had to move fucking fast. She understood that I'm someone who's late, always late. So she tried to kind of like help me with that. And I appreciate it so much. She was the one driving actually. So, like, also the fact that she was able to drive was for me like key, because she could get me on location on time. Plus she was doing the photos, she was helping me with interviews in the backstage and like stuff like this. Okay, but okay, maybe it's obvious, but let me just bring you an example of not a successful episode of me hiring a photographer. That, of course, I want a photographer because I want someone behind the camera. But what I mean by that is I always shoot video content and I always shoot with my iPhone, also photos. So I don't need someone who has the best reflex in the world, the best camera in the world, with the best light in the world, with the best quality. Like this is just like this is not the type of content that I put out there. So even if you're the most experienced photographer ever, if you don't get my language, it's not gonna be successful for me and for you, because we will just gonna fight. And I'm someone who like my content has to be how I want. And I bet other content creators or journalists or whoever you guys might want to assist in the future, they are just, like everyone knows what they want. Like everyone has a strong branding that they're gonna like they're putting out there. So I know what I want. I'm not here to like experiment with like and be creative. That's something that we do off Fashion Week. So for me, working with a photographer that's extremely experienced and works with the best cameras, even though he's or she's perfect, it just is not what I'm doing. Like it's not part of my branding, so it won't fit my aesthetic. It won't fit my language, and it's just not gonna be successful. So this is not a great match. Okay, the like this is something that I think who hires has to obviously analyze, but also who is applying has to like figure out, okay, do I really want to do this? Do I want to wake up at 5 a.m to go on that on site for that brand, to intern for them and just like clean the hairbrushes for the makeup artist? Like, am I gonna be able to do the sacrifice? Will I want to do the sacrifice? There's nothing like doing the wrong job that will traumatize you, that will leave you like a bad a bad like flavor in your mouth, that would leave you high and dry. I think the best gift that you can do to yourself and to others is to actually think of like which skills you have, what you want to improve, what do you want to learn about, and then actually apply for the gig. And yeah, and I think if you see the match, also the person who is looking for someone to hire will see the match with you and with your resume, and it just makes so much more sense. One of the best gigs that you can actually like bring something out of is to be on a production for a fashion show. I think it just sounds very interesting because you're really, I mean, it's a lot of work, definitely. It's a lot of like sleepless hours and waking up very early and be there at like I don't know, like crazy hours in the morning and leave at crazy hours at night. But you get to meet the designer, you get to see the clothes, you get to like see how they're gonna be styled, you get to see like the whole makeup uh, project and concept. You get to see the whole like putting together this baby. And I think that's very fascinating. And because so many people are working on the production of a fashion show, you can actually build network for the future as well, because you will be able to be connected to models, to photographers, to press, to designers and like assistant designers and stuff like that. So you will really have a little bit of everything. The worst thing that I could think to do like as a fashion week gig for me, it would be like assistant to a stylist. That sounds fucking like intense. But also because you guys know that my failed career, that I have a failed career as a stylist. I wanted to be a stylist, and I will realize like I'm just not the right person for it. Or this is not the right job for me, better put it this way. And just thinking of being a stylist is something that it's already like suffocating me. Thinking of assisting someone who's being a stylist is like, oh my god, just you can kill me now. I would rather like not work in fashion than being like an assistant to a stylist. But let me know if you've done this and how it went. I'm very curious. And also, like, if you're a stylist, is any of you, by the way, coming to Paris Fashion Week? I hope after this whole like Fashion Week gigs list, I inspired you a little bit to apply here and there. Let me know. And also, if you're coming, what are you gonna be doing here? And I hope to see you guys around. Always stop me when you see me. I kind of love this, especially during Paris Fashion Week, because I feel like there are so many people from different places, and also like no one literally gives a fuck, that you guys are literally stopping me and like wanting to take photos with me. This is so fun. Like I love it. And like I kind of like learn so much from like meeting with you. I had a follower who invited me in the backstage this season, to a brand, and this was like just meeting her and talking to her. It was so fun, and she's very interesting. So you guys are fucking interesting. You have so much to share, and you know so much about fashion. Talk to you soon. I'm actually thinking of doing like a whole You know what? I'm not gonna tell you what the next episode is gonna be about. Let's leave it as a surprise. Bye.